Hey, welcome to the Miami Dolphins Finstock Sports Network post-game show. I'm your host, Bobby Melendez, joined by my brother to the left, Alex Atia Chiska, my brother to the right, Justin JPF Scout, my brother to the bottom left, Neil, and then my brother Evan Posner from Canada. How excited are you? Alex, let's start with you. How excited are you? The Dolphins come back 21-point deficit in the fourth quarter. Tua throws 4 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. How happy are you overall about this game?
Oh, man. And obviously, it started as a downer, and we all saw the first half. Adjustments came, and you finally felt as a fan base. We'll get more into detail later, but you finally felt a game that we've been waiting for over 20 years to have. Like, right coach, right time, right adjustments, away. We're not even home. And where we haven't won, I believe, and Justin, you got the stats probably, or Evan, we haven't won. 1997. Yep. We're down, oh my God. We're down 21 in the fourth quarter, and we come back to win. There's really no words. There's no way to express it, bro. There's no way to express it, man.
Nope. Justin, so yesterday on Digging in the Trenches, I had it 17-14, Miami win. Thought it was going to be a closer game. You had it. Miami lost. Still a close game, 24-23. What the hell happened today? You know, first off, Miami's defense was nowhere to be found in the first half. No, stop it for a second with your kid's Dolphins jersey. Listen, so the Dolphins defense was nowhere to be found in the first half. Offense was struggling. Dolphins were down. I think it was 28-14 or 30, or I think it was 35-14 in the end of the half. What do you think happened in the second half to get the Dolphins to come back all around as a team effort? We're talking Tua as well, right? 6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I don't have the yards in front of me, but
469. Which quarter? Which quarter?
469. The whole game.
469, 199 in the fourth.
Thank you, sir. So 469, 6 touchdowns, 2. That's the story, right? But overall, the team came out in the second half, won this football game. So tell me what happened in that first half? What did you see it in the second half? What really stood out? Obviously, Tua stood out, but overall.
You know, in the first half, obviously, that opening kickoff was huge because it gave them momentum. But it was really reminded me of a heavyweight fight, you know. They punched first, we punched back, and I was curious how we would respond. And you know what? We responded well in the second half. What changed from the first half to the second half, if you pay attention real closely, was the line of scrimmage. The line of scrimmage changed completely in the second half. We were just getting housed, I think, in the first half. And then they came out there and just started taking to them, you know. The pass blocking really stepped up. They were holding all their blocks. It looked crisp. There was one play in particular where Tua They were blocking everything in the end zone and 2 nice pass out of there, and we got a score out of that. I mean, after the first half, it got kind of crazy, you know, like back and forth after punch, touchdown after touchdown. Honestly, if you want my opinion, Tua put his team on his back and led them to victory. It's what he does. He's born to do. I wrote it down in my notes right here. I'm like, this is the thing dreams are made out of. In this game right here, with 2 minutes to play in the game, you got a chance to win the game. Me and you went over and dig into the trenches. I give us to win the game. We're going to lose by a close one, I thought. Even to be in the game right then and there, man, I was actually really impressed. So all in all, it was a great performance. The key that went over to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle just tore their opponents apart come second half. And they can't handle that kind of speed, man. It was just too much.
That's why the Dolphins, you go out and you get weapons like that. You drafted Jalen Waddle last season. First off, Steve, how you doing, brother? Everyone tuning in, whether you're on Facebook or Twitter.
What up, Steve?
YouTube, smash that like and subscribe button. We appreciate you. Forgive me for my voice. I am coughing up a storm. Kids are sick, all that whatnot, but I am here. And of course, I lost my voice at the end of the Dolphins game. Now, let me see here. So, yes, you did have it as a loss, but was very close. We talked about the bricks I mean, and it was playing that way though. I mean, it wasn't just one person who was giving up giving up the game. It was the whole team that was kind of falling short. A lot of missed opportunities, dropped balls that should have been caught, bad decisions, the interceptions, things like that. It was all around a fail. It wasn't going to be on one person. The win, though, that's why you go and get a player like Tyreek Hill. That's why you go get a player like Jalen Waddle the year before. And look where Mike Gesicki, who was nowhere last week, shows up today and comes out.
Catch,
right? So the touchdown in the top, any other – if you were through that, probably Tyreek, but anybody else, it's way over. But going and give an opportunity for Mike Gesicki to come and pull it down, 1 of 6. Neil, my brother, we were all in the messages with Alex and so forth. And like most Miami Dolphins and the fans in the world, besides Alex, what?
I'm just seeing what you're going to say. I'm just waiting.
At the end of the second half, Alex is priding himself on trying to treat Tim Tebow. Ooh.
Wow. That's sleep deprivation right there. That's sleep deprivation. He's seen things.
Dude, after a game like that, you're going to say that Tim Tebow?
Wow, man. Wow. Is that blood in that body?
No. Listen, I'm saying what most people believed, and I said Alex treating Tua like Tyler Hero. But what I was saying was, and most people believed that this game was over by halftime.
Yes, sir.
It didn't. At any point,
I did.
The Dolphins were not showing anything. It wasn't just quarterback. It was overall. No, Dolphins weren't showing anything that would give you was giving you any kind of sight to say, oh, this team could come back and win it. However, come second half, and this is what I told. I did message this. The key to this football team, the difference in this football team. And I don't want to take away from the former coach, and I know people have their things on it, but the key to this game is Mike McDaniel. The hype he has, what he's done, what he's instilled in this football team to don't give up, continue to have fun, make big plays. To me, like I was just talking to Harrison, was just like basically at one point I think he just said just throw it to Tyreek, forget it, see what we got, and he does, and it's in 2 touchdowns to Tyreek, 2 to Jalen, 1 to Mike Gesicki. Overall, what were your feelings at the end of the half, and then now, how do you feel by the end of the game, Neil?
So I'll just tell you right now, like by the end of the half, I was sitting there like, wow, like this offense hasn't changed at all. I was sitting there like, we are behind. We are in such a big hole right now, and I have never seen this team in the past 3 years be able to come out of a hole like this. And so I texted in the chat. I was like, this game is over. There's no chance. Like, there's no way they're going to be able to climb out of this. And I said, and the defense hasn't even played well, and the special teams didn't play well. It was just
overall
collapse. Overall, it was almost like I saw Larry Zonka tweeting, and Larry Zonka was like, "This team came out unprepared," and I was like, "That's actually true." I felt like they did, but by the end of the game, and I remember in the half in our group chat, you and Alex, I remember texting you guys and saying, the only way we win this game is if this offense plays like I've never seen them play before, and this defense shuts them out.
And they did.
And what happened? The offense played literally like I have never seen a Dolphins offense play before, ever. I've never seen it. And the defense came back. And I don't know what they did because they were having very little success in cover 0 early, in the first half at least. But in the second half, they tweaked it just enough to be able to get pressure on him, because that was what was killing him in the first half, is they could get no pressure on him, and he was sitting back there just picking us apart, waiting for the receivers to get open, which, to their credit, Rashad Bateman, badass. That kid is special, and he's got something there.
I told you.
But in the second half, they did something, and I haven't been able to look at any of the tape to figure out what it was. They tweaked that cover 0 just enough to get pressure, and then the offense did something I've never seen them do. Just push the ball down the field, because that's what it was. The offensive line, first of all, Greg Little.
Greg Little.
Okay, on the right side.
Evan, we'll talk about him next. I'll let Evan
That
go
guy,
on.
and I'll let you guys talk about him. I don't want to take too much time, but that guy is the starting right tackle next week, at least.
Good,
And
man.
maybe the rest of the season. Even when Jackson comes back, I don't know if I would mess with it, okay? Because he held up, you know. And I want to echo what Bobby is alluding to. You know, this was obviously an elite performance by Tua, but it was an elite team win too. I mean,
Beautiful.
what they
Good job.
did in the second half is enough to make any team going forward think twice about what they're going to do. Like what they have demonstrated as an entire team is that it's going to be really hard to game plan for them. Where I don't think we could have ever said that. Like, you know, the elite teams seem to always be able to game plan well for us, and now it's going to be difficult because this team has something that Mike McDaniel, and I think they were starting to get there under Flores, but Mike McDaniel really said it best. And when he spoke to the character of this team, is that this team should never have its head down on the sideline ever, because they have it in them collectively to do this every week. And if they actually believe that, which I think they should be in every single game. And that was the biggest takeaway for me. Obviously, the elite performance by Tua gets me going because that kid's had a raw deal, I think, by the media at times. But just the team domination is what I think we should be most happy about.
Evan, you called me, or we talked after the game. You were obviously very hyped. Of course, you were on the Tua train, but you also you brought up the offensive line. You brought up Greg Little. And Alex, if you don't mind, or Justin, pull up the rushing numbers. I want to know what the team did rushing wise.
I'll tell you. I have it.
Oh, you do? Thank you.
Yeah, so they did a total. They averaged, which we talked about before the show. They had 4.8 yards a carry. They only had 86 yards of rushing, but some of the rushing yards in the fourth quarter when Greg Little opened up that space for Chase Edmonds, that was like the play of the game to me. Like what he did there to open that up. I've never seen such an opening there. He showed his fortitude today. I just want to go back to a couple of things. Go ahead, Bobby. By the way,
I was just going to say,
you should congratulate me. I went 15 minutes without saying a word.
I was going to say that. Thank you. You took it.
I thought you were muted. I thought you were just muted by mistake.
No, but I want to go back to something because you guys didn't have a chance to see the tape. But I listened to McDaniel's press conference just really quickly. 2 tidbits for you guys. He actually said before the game, in this pregame pep talk, before the game started, he wants to see, because he knew it would be a tough game, that he wanted to see how the team would handle adversity. But then he said to them, at the end of the half, guys, I didn't mean it literally. I didn't expect you to be down like 3 touchdowns by the half. Like literally. Like what the heck is going on here? But man, oh man. And the Tua at the end of the game when he was interviewed, every time they tried to focus on him, which is why I always truly believed in him, is the fact that he's a team player. He did not say how good he played. He just said how much of a win it is. And in the dressing room, how he talked, it was all about family and it was all about a team win. You can see there's a unity there. Just like we are on this network, they're a unified group. And that was the most important. He backed up his offensive line, telling them how good he was today. But you want to know what? The offensive line was great today. You could see how much pain. You could even watch how hard Armstead was playing today. You could see Connor Williams, how hard he was playing today. We didn't hear much about Eichenberg. Okay, guys, have you ever seen Eichenberg make a block like that on that touchdown, on Waddle's touchdown?
Never.
Mauled the defender. He mauled him. Hunt, phenomenal. But that was one of the best offensive line games I've seen them play, even before Flores. It was one of the most. They weren't the cause of the problem today. And even Tua, you saw today, he did something more smart. He took Bobby. You talked about it last night on overtime. He took the sack. He made a few bad throws where he did force it because I think he was trying to get back into the game in the first half and they had no momentum. When he threw his second interception, the first interception was a contested play. Was it a great throw? No. Hill and most other plays like last week maybe could have gotten it. It was just a contested throw. But the offensive line, it was one of the most. It was a great performance. They were much better. They actually kept them sort of in the game overall by getting them to get some points in the game because the defense was a mess. Like that zero coverage was not working and Boyer would not get away from it. Like he did not want to gain from it. The soft coverage that they were playing, the way Howard was playing was probably one of his worst games he's played of his career. He couldn't hold on to the ball. Jones didn't have a good game. Holland did. Overall, the defense did what it had to in the second half. In the first half, they broke. But in the second half,
You're 100%. The first
They
half
broke.
was the first half defense from last year.
Yeah.
Totally not,
But even in the second half at the
That's
beginning.
why I was saying too is overall, this team in the first half wasn't going to do a damn thing. Right. The team in a whole in the second half had to come together. In the second half showed up. The defense started looking good. Offensive line was different. Now, I will say what I was saying about the rushing attack.
It was 4.8.
The way the passing game was going on today, the offensive line. Imagine what this offense could be with a legit rushing attack.
But Mostert was great
that ball rolling.
But Mostert was great today. You saw what McDaniel did. He plans for every single game, and he thought Mostert would be stronger than Edmonds, so he sort of did the reverse. Last game, you hardly saw Mostert until you needed him. You didn't see Waddle till you needed him. And what they do today, they did the reverse. You only saw Edmonds in the second half. You only saw Waddle towards the Hill only became really important in the second half. He rotates and gets his star players, and he always has a different game plan, which was the most amazing thing to watch. And in the second half, the defense broke a little bit in the third quarter, but then they didn't break, and that was they adjusted to the game. And in the end, Bobby, I want to make this really interesting point because you're being negative, but this is what I've been talking about with Tua. And we all talk about his time in Alabama, and I want to just get this off my chest. The one benefit I always believed about why Alabama mattered to him over Herbert, I'm not saying Herbert's a better talent, I don't mean to bring Herbert into this, is because he was ready for these big games. He was ready for this. He needed the weapons to have it. He had the best game he could, while others, the experience matters. All I'm trying to say is his experience. I'm not trying to compare other quarterbacks tonight. I'm just saying his experience in college prepared him for today because he hasn't had this opportunity before. And the fact that he had the weapons like he did in Alabama, I felt like I was watching the national championship game, him coming back. It was just the way he did it, the poise he showed, he never got down. And everyone always says he's the hardest critic on himself. He was on the field today 3.5 hours before the game. I believe he still has room to grow. And the most important thing, guys, just remember this. The Dolphins are 2-0. The only other teams that are 2-0, take away the Giants in the NFC right now before Buffalo plays, the only other team is the Chiefs. That's the only team by tomorrow that could be 2-0 in this entire conference. And think about this. The Dolphins have not played 4 quarters yet. They have not played great football yet. They played an amazing quarter today. And last game, they didn't even play that great. We all talked about it. So the fact that they're 2-0 with one phenomenal quarter, and look at what they did in that quarter, how can we not be excited? They can only get better. They can't get worse. They've been phenomenal. Then this first half was the worst first half I think I've seen. And the best thing I think for all of us who have families, to be there with my kids, to watch this and to show them this. I was a little kid. Marino was not. I was 12 years old when this happened with Marino and the Jets. The last time this happened when we won 28-24, and we were down 24-0. The fact that I got to show this with my kids, the excitement I had that I showed, is a memory I won't forget.
Nope. Hey, how about that call right there to the end of the drive to win the game? That was my favorite call of the game. You were talking about that when he snuck that run call in there and Edmonds almost scored on it. That was my favorite play. My favorite play of the game, right there, because it was brilliant, bro. Like no one expected it, and bam, run, snuck that in there. I thought he was gonna score with it, dude. I was like, no.
Yeah.
I wanted that one to be it, but hey, we won, man. It was something of beauty, man. Just beauty. Like honestly, we only got him off the field 3 times during the whole game. They only got off the field 3 times, and I think one of them was a goal line stand, which was like during the.
Well, the defense held them on 3rd and 1. Yeah.
Well, they made stops when they had to make stops. Was it something beautiful? No, but they did it when they had to. And to the end there, they made adjustments. I'll go back and check out the film, but they made adjustments to the second half to get off the field, man. They weren't stopping the run, and now, bam, they get in here and start stopping the run. I mean, that was huge in the game, bro. Huge to get off the field right then.
Yeah.
There.
Alex.
And then right back up, they hit us with that long one. Man, I thought we were going to be done.
All right, Alex. So, no, you're good. Alex, so looking at this right here, so first off, with Tua. So one of the key things for me with Tua all season we were discussing was consistency. Last week, we saw him do enough to not to lose the game. He managed it, had a touchdown, 104 passer rating, 270 yards. This week, what did he do? He helped lead this team to a comeback and win against a very good Baltimore football team. There's your first 2 weeks of consistency. Now, we were talking via text message, and you were talking about shootouts What?
You said consistency. I think that was a little more than consistency today in the fourth quarter. That was improvement, not consistency.
Consistent, good performance. Listen, it's 1 week. Just like you guys said last week, it's 1 week. Okay? It's not the national championship. It's 2-0 start. It could be 2-14. Let's we're excited.
Wow.
But let's just chill for a second. Let me finish my point.
Crap.
Go. Let's let him finish. Go.
So Alex,
Yes.
let me get my point here. All right, so you said it was we talked about a shootout. It wasn't to me. It was it is a comeback. But what can be admitted here, because you posted these on the Twitter and whatever. So you said this team, it could be a shootout in the 30s. I said, well, with Tua at quarterback, I can't see this team with Tua at quarterback win a shootout. Bad team overall, something like that. Because the team in general was just bad at the first half.
Mm-hmm.
However, 6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, they come back and win it. Next week, they got a very strong test against a Super Bowl contender in the Buffalo Bills with Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs. How confident are you? Let's say this does go into a shootout. Can the Dolphins, can Tua stick with it against Josh Allen? And why?
Well, my first answer is absolutely he can stick with it. Number 2, the reason why is the same reason I told you in the first half. I didn't mind Tua's mistakes today because it wasn't a mistake of trying to be conservative. He was being over-aggressive. I can deal with that. As a coach, you can dial that down. And when you make those mistakes early on and you overcome it, as he did in the second half, all it does is when you're an athlete, there's moments that you go through stretches that you're too much in your head. And I've told this to Bobby. I'm like, yes, Tua doesn't have the strongest arm. And we've talked about it with Brett. He's a base thrower. I understand that. There are some that he's going to be a little floater. The Jalen Waddle one, he might be a little bit softer on that one. So I understand. There's not that much zip in that one. But overall, when Tua plays with the personnel that he has, if he's just playing, if he's just being the athlete, he's going 9 out of 10 times perform what you saw now. Obviously, it's not going to be maybe 6 touchdowns, 480 yards a game. It was a necessity based on the situation. So you're going to have a more established run game and passing attack. But what I love about it today is that I feel, yes, he's going to improve. Is the team performance going to improve as well? Absolutely. We started very slow. The O-line improved. Tua was able to get through his game and actually perform in the second half with the weapons that he has, but he was out of his head. You saw he was just playing. He was playing football. And the number one thing that you mentioned today that I love is that he improved on what he did last game wrong. He protected the football. He didn't go into those borderline fumble plays and try to sneak it out at the end. He took the sack. He took 2 sacks in a row. There was, I believe, three plays in a row where I don't know if he got sacked. It was 2 plays in a row, and it broke down. You make adjustments, and when he can react, Tua is accurate, has resiliency, and he perceives a lot of things. He before it happens, he sees it. When you're an athlete and you don't have a mental block, you can perform on all cylinders. Is he going to make mistakes? Absolutely. Is he going to miss a read? Yeah. But what bothers me, a lot of people talking about the first week, he's just checking down. He's not going downfield. That's why I didn't mind that force and Waddle. That's okay. One mistake, I can live with it. Don't do it in crunch time. But you can tell where his mindset was. He wants to get through it. He wanted to go through it. And as much as he knows who he is, and as much as this was a team win, I believe confidence-wise, this is a booster. And we could actually see the change of a season or the change of a franchise here. Because if this offense clicks, how we mentioned that it could possibly click on any given Sunday, you don't know who's going to win the ballgame for you. Morset, Edmonds, Hill, Waddle. What you have is speed. So when it's clicking, people are going to get game plan for it, but you can't game plan against speed all the time. Speed will win. Speed kills. And what I just saw, and the reason I can go into a game and perform a shootout now, the defense has to hold its own because the defense will be tested against Allen even more. Xavier Howard is going to be tested.
And that's when a shootout would come into play right there.
Exactly.
If the defense is giving up touchdown after touchdown, you have to trust your offense. And that would count for the Dolphins to be aggressive. Now, last week they were not aggressive; they were very conservative. This week, in the first half, same kind of way. Second half, they were aggressive, and it paid off. So it gives you hope.
And the Ravens did take their step off the throttle a little bit too.
That's fair.
I was surprised. I was very surprised.
And that because somebody said that as well is that because somebody was saying you get the points. Oh, it's garbage points. But Miami, it doesn't matter. Baltimore could do that. That's on Baltimore. Miami took advantage of that and came
Absolutely.
back and then Manny
Well, and Baltimore also had a terrible fourth down call where you just punt that ball with 9 minutes left.
They should have punted down.
Go down the field. Instead, they choose to go for it. We shut it down and we get the ball at the 45. Like, I mean, there
Great
are
field
things that
position.
happened in this game that made this comeback possible. And yes, most of it was the Dolphins' performance, but it was also some boneheaded decisions on the Raiders. And if you don't mind, Bobby, I want to touch on one thing about next.
Go ahead. No, it's on you, brother.
So
and then Justin after that.
I want to say I don't want anybody to confuse what I'm saying. This was an elite performance, and I'm not going to take anything away from the team or Tua. I'm not. But next week is going to be the Buffalo Bills. And, the Ravens had some players missing, okay? All right.
Well, that was my point to Justin. I was going to ask Justin that. But yeah.
Their secondary, was not at full strength. And I don't know if Tre'Davious White is going to play against us, but even if he isn't, that Bills secondary and that pass rush are elite. I mean, they're good. The pass rush, at least. Their secondary will still be decent. That pass rush is elite. And you saw what it did to the Rams. So, I mean, I think the best thing about today's game is that it has to make Buffalo think about stopping the pass. You know what I mean? It has to make them think about not just stacking the box and making Tua beat them. Because if we could get some movement in that philosophy from Buffalo, if we have success running the ball against them, Greg Little plays like he did today, then that game is very winnable if Tua just plays if that offense plays half as well as they did. Because I don't know if I'm ever going to see Tua throw 6 touchdowns again. And I don't need him to throw 6 touchdowns.
No, you don't. No.
What I need him to do is not have those 2 terrible interceptions and throw 2 touchdowns and get a couple running touchdowns. You know what I mean? Because we can't lose sight of the fact that those picks still were really bad picks. I mean, they're not defensible. And I know what Alex is saying.
You're right.
I know what Alex is saying, that he's being aggressive. And I do agree to that to some extent. But some of those balls were just aggressive for aggressive sake. They just weren't educated throws. They weren't.
That's true.
I mean, they didn't.
That's okay.
Bad decisions.
They didn't have any chance at getting to where they were going to go. You know what I mean?
I'm just gonna say what you said, Neil. I'm just gonna one quick point that one of the difference that I forgot, but you mentioned the run when Tua took off and slid, and he was, I think, a yard from the first down. Last week, he probably would have held on to the ball and just flushed out of the pocket. In this moment, he took the option. He was open. He slid, and he was. I don't know if he picked up the first down. He was one before. That's another mental difference that I saw.
Well, the spin move too. The spin move.
The spin move. Yes.
That is his anticipation.
I got you, Justin. I got you.
Pass rush. That spin move was elite. I mean, that was like Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson. And then wide open player in the end zone touchdown because of it. It's crazy.
All right, Justin, what's your point, brother? I got a question for you right after, too.
You kind of just stole my thunder right there, but that's all right. But you know what? As a fan base, I really hate it when we're down on the coach, the quarterback when we lose. Well, when we win, I want to see the quarterback get a little bit of praise, okay? And you know what? He deserves it. You were just talking about that spin move. I called it a pirouette. He kind of pirouetted, spun, and Craycraft was in the end zone. Bam, found him. Right when we hit that play right there, I'll be honest with you, I was like, we're going to come back, win this game. That right there. That's why I got up, dog, because that right there, that's growth. That right there, that's making a move when you need to. That right there, that's elite quarterback play, dog. All right? Telling you right now. I'm telling you, dog.
Yeah.
Okay. Justin,
right after that, and you get to the top, it's just like that heavyweight punch, bro. Like they hit us and we hit them back. They hit us, we hit them back. It was great, man. It was dreams were made out of. It was awesome.
Justin, all right. All right, Justin. So you got your fan hat on. Let's keep that hat on for a second, but let's put some analytical stuff in there because you're good at that. So Neil brings up a good point, though. The Baltimore defense, the secondary, we talked about it on Digging in the Trenches, was banged up. The Dolphins, and Tua, rightfully so, took advantage of that situation. Next week, they go against a strong Buffalo football team. and that secondary. First off, I want to say this. He doesn't need to throw 6 touchdowns again to that. No, do enough to win the football game. But how do you think Buffalo will adjust now after seeing this football game and they get shit? How do you think they're going to attack Miami's offense to try to force Tua and this offense not to do what they did against the Baltimore Ravens? And how does Miami respond to that?
I honestly think they're going to do the same thing that the Ravens tried to do, that every team's going to try to do to us at first, is they're going to try to put 8 in the box and force Tua to beat them with his arm. And that's what happened just today, and that's what happened. And he came through for us with flying colors. They tried to stack up the box on him and force him to pass, and he passed all day on them. And I think they found something somewhere like the second or third quarter, and they thought they could pass all day on them, and they just exploited it, bro. They found, like we were talking about on the episode before the game, the pregame keys were Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Both of them had over 11 catches, 100 yards, and Waddle had 172. It looks to me like they found something they like, and they just kept working with it. And I'll be honest with you, Buffalo, they're not going to change nothing. I think they're going to come out and they're going to play it straight up the way they play defense, and they're going to try to take away one of the weapons from us, and they're going to try to force Tua to win the game. And if they're going to shut down the run, you know that's the first thing they're going to do. So someone else is going to have to come up if they can take away 2 of the weapons. But this is what it's going to be all year long, as long as we can keep these 2 healthy. You're going to have mismatches coming out of your kazoo. They were using it as a mismatch out of the backfield, throwing it to him, running it to him. It makes the defense think, hey, is it going to be a thing? You know, that's how you keep them off of balance right over the top. I mean, I think we'll see more of what we saw today.
Evan, as we're getting here at the 33 minute mark, we're going to kind of keep it short and sweet, and I apologize to everybody that I'm not feeling well today and overall, but you got to be happy. I mean, that beats the
Oh, man, get better,
Dolphins
brother.
are 2-0. No, it's all good. But I want to first off thank everybody for watching the post-game show, the Fit Talk Sports Network. Smash that like and subscribe button.
Hit that
So,
subscribe.
Evan,
Yeah.
man, so I know you were at the pub where you were at 4238 Miami. Brother, you got the Fitz bandwagon on Tuesday, but let's get your final thoughts today before we get to see you on Tuesday night.
My final thoughts are, what really caught my eye. I remember a couple years ago, when the Lamar Jackson came back out of nowhere. He got hurt, he was uncomfortable, and all of a sudden he came out of the dressing room and he came back and won the game. We haven't had an elite player like Tyreek Hill since Dan Marino, and what he did today, he said he even feel good. And how we said before, outside speed kills. The yak that took place today, the speed that took place today, the consistency that took place today in that fourth quarter is something that will be my focus with Hank on Tuesday. It was just, for me, it's something to look forward to. It's something that people should appreciate. Now, next week, it could be something completely different, and there's going to be a completely different game plan. But that's what I love about Mike McDaniel, the humbleness of him, the fact that he's realistic, the fact that you saw him on the sideline and he wasn't scowling, the fact that he was still confident. Even if you notice on the sidelines, when they were down 21 points, Waddle was still encouraging Tua, and they were encouraging each other. They didn't look down heading into the half. They knew that they can come back as a unified team, and that's what I see. There's a unity on this team, and I just want to throw it out there. I've been having some fun on Twitter in the background on DMing with some of the beat writers, and they're actually writing me back of the Dolphins because I have some connections. They're from Montreal, like Poupard. I've been back and forth with them because we're both huge Expos fans also,
Alan.
and I've just been trolling them. And it's been a lot of fun, and it's just for me. It's just a lot of fun. The fact that we're here talking about this is why we do this. Is that we could talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, but today we got to see the worst of the Dolphins, and we got to see how they handle that adversity, and that was the most amazing thing for me. Is that what you've been looking for? You, Brett talked about just before I had to watch the tweet how now the Chargers are still in it. You want to know what? I'll give my opinion on another show. I'll talk about that on Tuesday. You want to know what? Today we got to show the fact that you want to know what? we're showing how elite we can be with if you give this quarterback the weapons that we need. And the defense, you want to know what? They didn't break in the end. In the end, they were not so great for the first 3 quarters, but when we needed them to step up, they stepped up. And that comes from the coaching staff. You, Bobby, have said all season, the secret weapon to this sauce of the Dolphins is the coaching staff, and that they believe in this coach. They are playing so hard for this coach. And we all know this, that if you have the right coach, we've all played sports, not professional, but we all play sports. If you have a motivator behind you who believes in you, then the team can win. And that's what we all been seeing, that we all were so happy when the season started because we believed in this coaching staff and they made adjustments. The team of last year, Bobby, you know this, we all know this, that team down 21 heading into the half would have folded. The game would be over. There wouldn't even be an attempt. And by the way, we all know who had been starting the second half. It wouldn't have been Tua. And we all know that for a fact. So let's all praise the fact that this was a team win. The fact that they stood behind this quarterback.
I like that.
Bridgewater would have started the second half. We all know that. 100% if this was last year, he would have been starting the second half, and Tua would be down. He'd be traded. He'd be benched the rest of the season. The fact that we had a coach who truly believes in him, the team surrounded him, Hill backed him up, Waddle backed him up. They all made plays before him. The offensive line backed him up and protected him. Sky's the limit for this team moving forward because now they have the confidence and they have the momentum heading into next week. And you want to know what? I'll make a prediction on here now. Anyone who wants to make a side bet? Our former quarterback is going to beat Josh Allen tomorrow night. I'm saying it now. They're not coming in undefeated. We're going to be the only undefeated team in the AFC East starting next Sunday.
Alex, you said you got a stat, my friend. So go ahead and get that and give me your final thoughts.
I got a stat. Actually, I'll give you my final thoughts first in regards to what Evan just said. I believe growing pains like today, Tua could have gone through in the first couple of years in the right staff. Like I said, Flores did wonders for our defense, rebuild everything with Greer. There's some misses, yes, but Tua was never part of an offensive staff that truly believed in him. They were always going to be division. Obviously, McDaniel comes in, inherits, but McDaniel provided the plan. It's like, I could win with this guy, especially when I got Hill, Morstead, Waddle. So this is the perfect nucleus. If we want to see a success, a team, people always question it, and I said it before the show, that's like, Marino was only great because he had Duper and Clayton. Obviously, I'm not comparing Marino and Tua, guys. Unfortunately, obviously, they play for the same franchise. But you can't take away the talent around quarterbacks. That's like, Mahomes because he had Hill. That doesn't matter. You still see what a player can do surrounded by talent. Team sports is that. If you have a quarterback, if you have a point guard, a center, whatever the case may be, you surround your team with the nucleus that it needs to succeed. Everybody plays a role. And so it's encouraging down the line. The defense will improve. Tua's going to make mistakes, Fins Nation. They're going to make mistakes. He's going to make mistakes. But you see the progression that he did today. He didn't make the same mistakes he did last week. And to me, an in-season one-game adjustment, that speaks volumes. And he has the confidence in him. That doesn't mean that we're going to see these performances every day. We don't need it like we mentioned. But in this squad, you can see Tua throwing for 300 yards, 3 touchdowns a game the whole year. And the rushing game, I expect the rushing game to pick up because you saw the consistency. Even when it was a comeback, we still stayed true to certain rushes, and our averages panned out due to the O-line protection. So those were my final thoughts. But this is the stat that, to me, is insane. In the last 11 years, teams trailing by 21 in the fourth quarter were 0-711. The only win was today by our Miami Dolphins and Tua, our coaching staff. That is 1-711. This doesn't happen, guys. Like, we watch in real time something that people are going to talk about forever.
And this is something I'm going to keep hammering home, though. Not just one, it's Mike. First off, Mike was awesome today. He was on Saturday. He did Mike the Hebrew Hammer Brown, Bottoms Up, Fids Up. I was co-hosted with him. This guy, he called me from the game, FaceTime, that last play right before they scored.
Bro, the atmosphere there must have been insane.
I appreciate my brother, giving me a call, saying he wanted me to be a part of that. I felt it was a good little pick-me-up for me because of what we got going on over here. So I appreciate him. I hope he's having a blast there. He deserves it. Dolphin fans deserve it. But you know what? And it's not a knock. I'm not taking that, but I'm just saying, we keep saying Tua, but Mike McDaniel, Tyreek, Jalen, The defense stepped up when they had to. Mike Gesicki had to come back in because where the hell was he last week?
What's Miss Finn's going to do tomorrow morning, Bobby? If you could be on that show tomorrow, you're not going to hear the end of it. But I want a formal apology from her about Tua last night. I want a formal apology on that show tomorrow about poor Tua. She really made fun of me last night. I trolled like crazy, but come on. I was right. By the way, I just want to take a moment. Guys, I just want to take one thing because we're going to forget to at the end. How amazing is it that we get to be here right now? And if it wasn't for that guy in the middle who put this all together, we wouldn't be able to be doing this. We'd all be in a bubble talking to ourselves.
Yep. Oh, man.
So thank you. You're a trooper. You're the Cal Ripken of podcasts.
Yeah, we thank you.
Yeah, we thank you.
Good. No, I thank all you guys. But I'll say, no, but again, that's why you make moves. And I'm going to give this to Neil for his final thoughts. And then Justin, and we'll go ahead and close this out. But I just want to say, yes, Tua responded well. First off, last week, there was those near misses, whatever, one touchdown, 270. But there were things that you looked at, you go, because that's where me and Neil with Evan and Justin last week. That was where we were saying you can't have that against Baltimore, Buffalo, etc. He comes out here after, and again, it wasn't just fans. Ryan Fitzpatrick, Sean Payton coming out and saying stuff. But again, it came out with 6 touchdowns, finishing in 6 touchdowns, 400 some odd yards. Great response. But again, as I've always said, Hank has said, starts, ends with the quarterback. We're a quarterback away. That's coming closer now. But I will say this. You went out and you got Tyreek Hill, Armstead. You got a coach who, again, and I'm always full disclosure, I was not interested in a rookie coach again. I wanted a veteran coach because of staff and everything else. He looked like I think the reason why Alex wanted him is the reason why Alex looks like him now. He wanted to look like him.
I told he was an offensive genius. I told he was an offensive genius.
He saw a picture of him going, yes. And he's like, Bobby, this is the guy.
Okay.
So now look how he's starting to evolve into Mike McDaniel all of a sudden.
Right.
Look at his hair. He's going to try to look like Mike McDaniel from San Francisco. So all I'm saying
that's right.
When Mike McDaniel came on this staff, we were saying this offseason, Evan can because Evan holds me to everything.
And I love you, Bobby. You're the best. I love you. That's what I hold you to.
No, but you do. But I said it. I was like, I want this veteran coach. And then when you start to research Mike McDaniel and you see what people say about him in these 20 years in the league and his coaches and his players and whatever, you see the way, you start to, okay, wait a second. And the reason why I like Dan Quinn when we finally started to get closer on these coaches was because of the type of staff he had put together, because he's the one who hired Mike McDaniel, McVay, and so forth. So I started to get more comfortable when it came down to who the hell's the guy for Kellen
Moore.
Thank you, Kellen Moore and McDaniel. You go, okay, no, McDaniel, you'd rather have that because it looks like and what did he do? He has put a good staff together. And 2 weeks in, we're 2-0. Yep. The first win, it was like last year we won. I still had question marks. This win is a more of a statement win because it's a comeback. You came back, like Alex just said, 0 and 700 and whatever.
And 11.
The first team to do it, to come back 21 points in the fourth quarter, all the way back.
Special, dog.
So that's why
can I add one thing, Bobby?
50 years since 17-0, guys. Just remember that.
I'm just going to mention this. This is something that we talked about. And Justin, you're the stat man. I always, when I started researching about McDaniel, and I told Bobby, I'm like, I think he's an offensive genius, whatnot. And I thought he was super cool. I think he's the future of coaching. In the league, obviously you got McVay and all that. You don't have those old school coaches anymore. I believe he's the future of coaching. But statistically, if you research all the quarterbacks that he's been part of in their careers, statistically, all those QBs had their best years when McDaniel was on staff. Not only as an OC, but even as an O-line coach, as a QB coach, statistically, every one of those quarterbacks, before and after McDaniels, you see the difference. It's just he sees the games differently. He exploits things differently. That's just what I loved about him. He thinks,
and that's why I want to say this. I'll leave it at this then, because I have said I think the best addition this offseason for the Dolphins. We had a lot of good ones with Tyreek, Cedric, Taron was the head coach and the staff he's brought him to Bevel and so forth. And that's why I'll say this too, and it's not a knock. It's what's up, Simus? Thank you for tuning in, brother.
By the way, I just want to give you a shout out. Simus is my colleague in the States from our blinds company. So shout out, Simus, for joining the show. I appreciate it, man.
Oh, we got 3 blinds people on here. Great. But I'll say this. That's why, again, when it comes down to this, It did, Ralph. Absolutely. Offensive line has stepped, especially in the second game. The best part of this football team right now is the head coach. That's the MVP of this team right now.
Yeah.
Leadership is important. Leadership
There's
is
two of
everything.
jerseys. There's 2 of jerseys out, and rightfully so. 6 touchdowns, 2 picks, all that's right on. But Tyreek had 2 touchdowns. Jalen, that's why you go get these guys. But you could have these guys and a shitty coach and not do a damn thing. This team didn't give up. They went out and won. Tyreek came back into the game after coming out when they were down and won the game. Mike McDaniel is the MVP so far this season for me, as we've been saying, and it remains to be the case. That's my final word. Neil, what's your final word, brother?
Man, Bobby, I'm just glad that some of the nerves about decisions this team made are starting to melt away, because I was with you on a rookie head coach. I remember when we hired an offensive genius many years ago, and look how that went, and I'm glad that my nerves were unwarranted. I'm glad, unwarranted, I'll say it. And, I'll tell you, man.
What the hell are you doing, bro?
I'm engaged. Come on, man. Press conference.
I thought you were trying to be Camp Cameron or Joe Philbin.
No, Adam Gase, buddy. Popping in the eyeballs. Come on.
And I have had, my doubts about Tua the quarterback and how this offense can function, and some of those are slipping away, and I feel great about that. And today is a day of celebration for fans. We should be out there clamoring for greatness and saying that it's different and it's changed, and we're going to be a playoff team, because I'm actually pretty confident we are going to be a playoff team, especially since we're 2-0 in the hardest part of the schedule, and it means that the Bengals don't really look all that special either, so I think that's probably a win. So let's say we get 3 wins out of these 4 games. Hitting that amazing soft stretch of the schedule, this is a playoff team. They are, and I think that's confident. But I will say, and despite how much I'm going to celebrate and have celebrated today, I need to see them beat Buffalo. I need to see it. I have faith that they can, but until I see that, I am going to temper my expectations for Super Bowl or greatness or anything like that, because I have been a Dolphins fan for 20 years, and I've seen them have almost, but not enough. And if they were to beat Buffalo, that would go away too. And I have faith it can. I
think we all want to see a win in Buffalo. I will say this, though. If Miami, let's say, goes into a shootout, Tua throws 4 touchdowns, has a pick, 2 picks, and they fall just short of Buffalo, I'm going to be happy with that. That's good. If they come out and throw, they get blown out 38 or whatever, as I had that prediction earlier, 38-14, whatever it was, just because what it is Buffalo, then yeah, I'd be disappointed, and I'll be like, oh, here's a comeback to earth moment. However, I get you. Today showed that Miami can compete with Buffalo if the defense starts from beginning to end, like they did in the second half. If the offense is just as aggressive, but not making those mistakes, because you can't let up. You can't give up too much points to Buffalo. Because once Buffalo's up 2 touchdowns, it's really hard to come back. Because as talented as Lamar is, he's not there with Josh Allen. Allen is a different type of beast.
Yeah,
and I got to give props to my friend over here, my brother over here on this side. He had Josh Allen's former college wide receiver, Aiden Eberhardt, on Digging on the Trenches, and just talked about how he's a leader, and it just gives you that insight. So. And I like Lamar Jackson. I know a lot of people think of him as, for whatever reason, if Tua falls flat, this guy's the guy we go after. For me, it's not. It's not the guy. Yeah, I'm not on that train. There's other guys that I would be, but you can't do that with Josh Allen. But I think that this team today showed if they could do the second half against Buffalo, that is a strong possibility. But if it's a competitive game and they fall short. And it depends, of course, what we see, what happens, what kind of boneheaded play might cause, whatever. If that goes in, that's a different story. But if it's a shootout and they fall short, I'm okay with that. But if they win it, oh shit, all bets are off. Alex, you had something?
Yeah, just something quick, because one of the things that I'm happy for, and Bob, like you said it, the MVP has been Mike McDaniel. His hire this offseason was criticized by some people because once again, oh, he only interviewed in Miami. People in the league weren't interested in him. People don't believe in him, et cetera, et cetera. What we talked to Will Mansell this past week, and he mentioned one thing that stuck with me. And he said, Mike McDaniel has a plan. And when Mike McDaniel's been 15 years in this league waiting for this shot, you have it all planned out. And what bothered me, with all respect, it really fucking bothered me what Sean Payton did when he started talking about the Teddy Bridgewater's going to get some playing time and this and that. We know what Sean Payton is kind of doing. He wants the Dolphins job or the Cowboys job. But he's trying to throw it. So I really like, because I don't want this lingering the whole season. If McDaniel doesn't perform, if this team underperforms, will Sean Payton take over next year? And that's something that I'm happy that, because I believe in someone that has a plan, is the future of coaching. Even if he's available, I don't move on from McDaniel, no matter what happens this season.
I don't know. I don't want to put it in words, but for me, this is only week 2. We don't know what happens the rest of this football season. But I would say it's more likely, God, if the earth falls down, I think it's more likely the Dolphins moving to, let's say if the quarterback falls flat and all this bullshit, it's more likely that it's the quarterbacks that have gone. I don't see Mike McDaniel leaving. McDaniel has won the hearts of the fans, has won the hearts of the people in that building. The media loves him, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I think this is Mike McDaniel's team for a while. And before
he's a perfect leader. He's a perfect leader, in my opinion.
Evan will say, I'm sure, because I've said it before, I feared that a McDaniel hire was more of a David Coley. It was, do this, if you let him fall flat on his face, fire him at the end of the year, hire Sean Payton. But not just because of 2 wins, but because of what I've heard him talk about, the way he talks about the people in that building, the way Chris Greer smiled, and even the players, it just tells me that I don't fear anything about McDaniel leaving unless the team goes 2 and whatever. If they lose all the next games, then we could talk that conversation. But I think if this team even misses the playoffs, we're not worried about that. Quarterback could still be a conversation, but I don't worry about that. Go ahead, Evan.
The one interesting point I want to make was there's a lot of the best thing that could have happened to this team, because we thought it was so bad, was the fact that Stephen Ross is not around right now. Because if Stephen Ross was around right now, he would have said, oh, Tua's my quarterback now. Oh, I have my new Dan Marino. It's actually nice with all the distractions that we had. The fact that distraction is now away. The fact that they can focus on the team. They don't have the owner worrying about this and being in the spotlight. Because you saw today in the Cowboys game, I saw the end of the game. The focus wasn't even on Cooper Rush and how they played against the Bengals. It's Jerry Jones. So imagine. Honestly, that's what I love about the fact that the team is just focused on what they need to do. Chris Greer is going to do his job. He's going to go get what we need as we continue to get better, and that McDaniel can run his staff, and there's no more distractions. So for me, that's the number one thing we can focus on now. That it's about the team win. It's not about all these distractions. And for me, nothing gives me more pleasure than to see Jacoby Brissett. People were posting on Twitter today when Tua was down. Oh, imagine we had Jacoby Brissett. He's leading the Browns. They lost to the stinking freaking Jets. So you want to know what? It's a great day in Miami.
Justin, your final thoughts?
Well, pretty rough final thoughts here, but I think my final thoughts would be I heard some halftime talk, some of the commentators talk. I think it might have been like Phil Simms or someone like that. They're like, It's only evident Miami's not ready to play with someone like Buffalo. And then we came out there and turned around and won the game.
It was Boomer. Boomer was ripping.
Yeah, Boomer Esiason. You're right. That's what I said. One of them talking heads.
His tune changed after the game, though. His tune changed after the game.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Of course.
But the one thing that holds in my mind prevalent, honestly, is from my notes right here. This is what I wrote for verbatim, okay? This is what dreams are made out of. Our fourth quarter time on the clock, Dolphins ball, short kickoff. Dolphins will have good field position. Right? Then we came back and won the game. And the one quote that sticks out was saying, I think he said it to Jalen Waddle before the play to win the game, was, you know what? It's us or it's them. It's them or us. It's them or us. And he went out there and he made that throw to him. And that throw, when he broke down, if you look at it, man, he kind of like looked him off and looked over to his left and came back and seen Waddle making it. Then he took off, gave himself some time, and on the run made that throw, man. I went nuts. But my final thought is it's going to be a great game come here in Buffalo. A great game when we play Buffalo. I think we should expect a shootout kind of, man. I think some of the best of what we got today is what we'll get next week. I hope the defense plays a little bit better. I also hope that they are able to cause a little bit more pressure on the quarterback. Overall, was a great team win, and fins up, man. Wrap this thing up and put it to bed.
Evan?
Well, I want to make an interesting note. Nothing Dolphins related because it's just NFL. Who would have thought that Jimmy G signing that 1-year contract would have worked out so well for him? I don't think Trey Lance, if he plays well this year, I think Trey Lance might become a Ryan Leaf.
No.
The poor guy may not
What
even
happened?
get a chance. He has
Trey Lance is out for the season.
season-ending ankle injury.
What?
He's done. Season-ending ankle injury.
Yeah,
That
he's
happened
gone.
early today.
Whoa!
That's why you keep Jimmy G, baby.
That's why you keep Jimmy G.
I don't think we should be glorifying no
Oh,
injuries,
that's-
though. I hate.
No, I'm not
No,
glorifying.
not at all. Not at
I'm
all.
not glorifying. I'm just saying that
I
that's why you
know.
hold
I
on
just
to.
hate seeing injuries. You know.
Oh, I hate it too, but poor no. But he honestly, he sort of felt the Tua pressure.
What's
a
their
little
record
bit.
right now? Did they fall today? Did
They
go
won.
0-2?
They won.
They won. Okay.
But
Because we have their draft
my
pick.
only comment that was to make, Justin, was the fact that you could even sense it that people in the media and the way people were talking in San Francisco is the fact that Trey Lance sort of had that Tua treatment a little bit. How Shanahan was sort of thrusted with Trey Lance, sort of the way Lynch put him on, the same way Greer put Tua on Flores, type of thing. So the fact that now he has his quarterback, I feel bad for the poor kid because he was drafted so high, he was traded up for, and now he may never see his job again over an injury.
Real quick. If you had questions about who your quarterback was before this game, do you still have questions now? That's for all of you.
Me? Ever? I never had a question in my life.
For Dolphins?
No?
Oh, no.
No, I don't think so. I think Tua is going to be this quarterback this year easily, and I mean,
with this squad,
with this squad, with the weapons,
I think he's going to be able to put together, the games necessary, and I think they're going to get to the playoffs for sure. Now, I mean, I don't have a doubt about that. This is a playoff team, and I think that will keep him in Miami.
and you haven't even seen all the weapons yet.
At least to the end of this contract,
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, I do. I want to say this because I think it's important. I mean, I loved Tua's elite performance today. But I mean, I'm going to celebrate it, and I have been celebrating it all day. I want to see great performances from him. I mean,
consistency, like Bobby
I
said.
want to see some consistency before I say to myself, "Yeah, like this is our franchise." Because I haven't seen us have a quarterback for 10 years ever. So I don't know what that looks like, and I want to get there first.
No, I think that's what I was going to say. Questions.
This is just the
It's
beginning,
week
bro.
2, guys. It's week two.
Yeah.
It's week two. Listen, I it's not like this happens. It's all no. My question is what Alex just said. What Neil was alluding to. Consistency. Let's see how this trends. You go against a tough team in Buffalo. Can you beat a team or compete with a team like Buffalo?
No regressions.
No regressions.
Keep on going. Keep on going.
Again. So yes, there's no. It's not like I'm sold. No, it's let's see what happens against Buffalo. But this was huge because we've never seen any type of real team or a team like Miami right now recently come back from such a huge deficit like that. And yes, it's an overall team effort, but Tua threw the 6 touchdowns. So that was great. That was a trend in the right direction. That was growth. They came back from that deficit. Now it's consistency. Do you continue to move forward? It doesn't have to be 6 touchdowns next week. It could be a touchdown. It could be 2 touchdowns. But if you throw 4 picks and we're down 38-0, we lose the game, then then it's back to square one. Go ahead, Alex, and we'll finish it up with you.
Results shows commitment. Results show what you believe in. A lot of the fans sometimes, obviously, you doubt it, but when players see this in your head coach, like you mentioned, that's why it's so important. When you see it play out on the field and you see what you can do in live, in living color, that unleashes everything. Your doubts. I'm not saying you're not going to be a conservative at times, but those doubts are removed because you saw what you're capable of doing. Yes, granted. They were missing some of their secondary, but still, talent-wise, schematically, you see what you can do. You see what you're capable of. Now you just gotta do it every week.
Absolutely. So that's guys.
Winning.
We're all hyped.
Winning.
Dolphins are 2-0 to start the season. They took out the Patriots, AFC East division rival. They took out the Baltimore Ravens conference rival, so they start the season 2-0. Tua has no more Arizona game as his best game. It's now the Baltimore Ravens comeback win, 6 touchdowns, 2 picks, 400 and some odd yards. Way to end at a high note. We go next week into Buffalo, so let's hope that next Sunday night when we talk Buffalo, we are celebrating another Dolphins win, and Evan is having that damn thing waving in our face the entire time, and Alex with his son.
Winning cures everything. Winning cures everything. We're gonna beat Buffalo.
Alex needs a real jersey.
Winning cures everything. We're beating Buffalo.
All right, guys, thank you all for tuning in. Smash that like and subscribe button. This is Fins Talk Sports.
Smash that button.
We'll see you Tuesday night for the Fins bandwagon. Fins up, everybody.
Fins up. Go! Winners everything! We're beating Buffalo! Oh yeah, great show.